Hello, I'm Lizzie.
And I'm Izzy, and we need help.
Each week we stumble through a new book, method, or concept that brings us one step closer to being our best self.
Yes, we make fun of ourselves.
And others.
But mostly just ourselves. So here's to not taking self-help quite so seriously.
Welcome to We Need Help. I'm Lizzie.
And I'm Izzy, and today we are diving into healthy boundaries, how to set strong boundaries, say no without guilt, and maintain good relationships with your parents, family, and friends. Yep,
Yeah.
by author Chase Hill.
Chase Hill, which there's a hot Chase Hill. It's not the author. He's so hot. Look him up.
Not
on
the
Instagram.
author, but the model, Chase Hill.
The model. He's like adorable. We looked him up on Instagram and we thought it was this Chase Hill. Sorry, this Chase Hill.
It's good that you're smart and write books.
There's a hot Chase Hill out there. It's Chase_Hill is the hot one. Okay, but what do you know about the author Chase Hill?
Oh gosh, let's see. I know he's a life coach, which just depresses me. Every time I hear somebody that's a life coach, I'm like, I don't want to be a life coach anymore.
You're a life coach.
So he has a professional background in life coaching. He has a passion for helping others to unleash their true potential, which is sort of like a tagline for every life coach. He's written lots and lots of books about stress management, about interaction, about communication. He has a book called Stop Overthinking, which sounds interesting.
I thought about that for a long time. I won't be reading it.
Okay. I contemplated that for 2 weeks and decided no. Mr. Hill has spent over a decade researching psychology with a focus on mental attitude, emotional resilience, which I like, and assertiveness and boundary setting in the modern world. So that's it. He's, what else? I mean, you looked at his Instagram, right? He travels the world. He produces music. He enjoys hunting down his favorite records on vinyl. That's sort of his hobby.
I didn't see his Instagram. I only got to that hot Chase Hill.
And you just stopped.
I mean, I went through that guy's Instagram pretty thoroughly. And then
to his very first post.
Yeah.
So I think for the afterbirth, we're going to have to do a little more digging on Chase Hill, the author.
Hot Chase Hill.
And let's try to find some similarities between
hot Chase Hill,
and his, and from the parallel universe, Chase Hill,
Chase Hill, hot Chase Hill,
and smart Chase Hill.
Well, I'm banking that hot Chase Hill is just as smart as author Chase Hill. My money is going on hot Chase Hill. Okay, so what
healthy boundaries?
Yeah, this one is, I will say, if there ever was a book that we both needed so desperately, it would be this one, right?
That's correct. And he has the very first question in like the intro to the book. He said, "What is the first thing that comes to mind when you hear the words healthy boundaries?" So I'm going to ask you that. When you hear that, what comes to mind?
It makes me extremely nervous to even answer the question because I know I don't have any healthy boundaries. I know I'm not well boundaried, I think I've broken people's boundaries a lot. And I'd like to just do a broad stroke apology for those. Okay, guys, like broad stroke. So sorry.
Oh my God, that's pathetic. You're just doing a broad stroke.
You know what? I'm sorry, okay?
You got to do a Bill Murray from Broken Flowers, door to door. After reading this book, ringing the doorbell, walking into the house, and apologizing for crossing a boundary.
You know what? I think I should kick down the doors of every person that I've ever broken a boundary with. Oh my God. I'm so bad with boundaries. One, that's my first thing. And two, I hate boundaries. I find them boring. I don't ever want to fucking talk about the weather. I want to talk about your trauma from the get-go. Like
I can't do small. I'm horrible at small talk.
which
I'm
is a
horrible at it.
boundary problem. I found out in this book. It's a
Yeah,
boundary
I
problem.
know. This
Okay, so
book was,
let me ask you,
yeah.
what do you think when I say, "Hey, Izza, what do you think about healthy boundaries?"
I think I don't know how to do it. Like my boundaries are other like very unhealthy. Like I will
Mhm.
block, ghost, and just get rid of people rather than set a healthy boundary.
They're really hard.
And it sounds like I don't know. It sounds like too adult. Like I am going to set a healthy boundary
I'm going
now.
to I'm not I am not comfortable with this. I would appreciate that. I seems too I oriented.
Yeah, I just I'm afraid. I think I've never we weren't really a healthy boundary kind of house. I mean, yeah, we come from Poland. Like my people come from Poland, where Poland's boundaries were not respected at all. Like the Germans, the Russians, like
Yeah.
came, invaded. The boundaries were moved. Like I think as a people,
Oh
Poles
yeah.
don't know how to set boundaries. So
Well, and I like we're of Irish descent. And I think that poor people kind of don't get the fucking luxury of boundaries
yeah,
sometimes. And you have to kind of survive and uh boundaries are for people of uh you know when you get the of luxury boundaries are luxury. Like, honestly, like, "Oh, I'm not comfortable with that. That goes beyond my boundary." And I'm just like, when you're poor, you're like, I need to borrow a can of green beans." Like, like,
borrow.
borrow by borrow, I mean, never give back.
By
Yeah,
borrow, I mean open,
yeah.
eat, and never return
Okay, I
again.
remember when we were kids, my mom would pay the power bill, and our neighbors my neighbor Connie, who I love, she would pay her water bill. So we would go down, they would come to our house at night and we would go to their house for showers. Like my brother would be running down the road in a towel,
Oh
like
my
wrapped
god,
around. I mean, so okay, it's very freaking clear that we don't know boundaries. Like
we're bad at it. What
we're bad at boundaries.
why did we reach for this book? Like why did we suddenly come to this conclusion that we need boundaries in our life?
Well, I think we're exhausted a
Yeah.
lot.
I am tired as fuck, dude.
I'm so tired.
I am so tired. Yeah. He's so he talked about in the introduction that there's 6 key types of boundaries. There's physical, emotional, there's time, sexual, intellectual, and material boundaries. And he kind of goes through all of those in different relationships and how to set those boundaries, what those boundaries could be. Out of those 6, so physical, emotional, time, sexual, intellectual, material, which ones do you struggle with the most?
Okay, read them again.
Physical,
No,
emotional, time, sexual,
time.
intellectual. Yeah, me too. Me too.
Time.
It's time. Yeah.
Honestly, like that's my favorite uh I mean, that's the one that I am the worst with is I'll give away my time like and it's the most precious thing we've got. But I don't know how to protect it. I know how to protect my physical side.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to protect myself sexually. I know how to, all of those things. Um, wait, what were the other ones? So time,
There was physical, emotional, sexual, intellectual, and material. So intellectual is like when somebody doesn't respect or they think they're smarter than you and they don't respect what you're saying and I couldn't get him like relate to any of
I
those.
mean, my dad
Yeah.
definitely does that.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't respect my intellectual. I mean, he's literally never, ever, ever like celebrated that part of me, to say the
Mm-hmm.
least.
Yeah.
But, and there are a lot of people in my family that don't feel good about their intelligence. So they like to like make other people feel worse a little bit.
Mm.
So I think that I naturally uh, am codependent and try to make people feel more intelligent.
Mm.
But I do also surround myself with some know-it-alls that kind of, I mean, they constantly correct me.
Yeah.
And it is exhausting.
Yeah. I remember I was dating this guy, and it was when I first moved to Poland, and I didn't speak Polish very well. So I would be telling a joke, right? I'm a joke teller. I'd like to sit around tables and just I could one right after the other.
You're
And
hilarious. We all know.
I was telling a joke, and his mother kept interrupting to correct my grammar.
Mhm.
And that's sort of crossing an intellectual line.
You just described my childhood with my father. Except
And I
it
was
wasn't
like,
just a joke, it was everything. He
yeah, I mean,
always did that.
when you're telling a joke, there has to be flow, otherwise the joke's not funny. If somebody is interrupting
Mhm.
you every second phrase to correct my grammar, the punchline isn't going to have punch.
Mhm.
So she
And all of a sudden, here's what blows my mind. If you took an ice pick to her face, you would have been the one in the wrong. Like,
right?
I mean, that's where the world's not fair.
Yeah. But then I'm thinking, how would that, he talks about this. He talks about boundaries with in-laws, families, friends, etc. But I can't imagine. I mean, what would I pull her aside? Like some of these things in here, like I can't imagine pulling her aside and saying, "Listen,
Okay.
I would appreciate you not correcting my grammar when I'm telling jokes." I think I would just like suck it up, like it's not that okay. So she gets to interrupt me, like so I can't shine here at the kitchen table, but I don't know.
Well, and I know that when he was writing this book, I know he was writing it for people with like, he has to assume that you are a mole.
You have zero self-esteem.
Yeah, like you have no other like skills or anything. Like he's like writing to like the lowest of the low. But I'm like,
You're like a blob, like
you're just,
boundaryless,
oh,
floating.
I don't know nothing about nothing about nothing. But I mean, like, that's when you put up like a physical boundary. Like, I put my hand up and be like, okay, bitch, shut your mouth, hand. Like, and you do the eyebrows, like, okay, thanks for correcting me. Like, you do like
But
physical, like body language saying, be quiet.
but is that healthy?
Well, it works.
It
And you
works,
don't
I
have to
know.
pull somebody aside and say, listen. All right, I know 0 Polish names. Helga. Listen, Helga. I think that's German. I
Oh
can't
God,
think of a Polish name right now.
okay, that's going to be in the afterbirth. The
Top
where did
10
the word?
Polish names.
Yeah, and where did the name Helga come from?
Yes. Listen, Helga, it really disrupts my joke and makes me uncomfortable when you correct my Polish. And or like there was no like chapters on kicking someone in the vagina. Chase Hill, you need to get on, like, where's the kick somebody in the cut?
Where's the director's cut of your book? Come on.
Oh, I love the idea of that.
So should we go through the 6 key types of and see where we stand with some of these, or
Sure, I'm all for it.
Okay, cool.
I'm boundaryless. I'm up for anything.
Yes.
Yes.
You have boundary issues. So the first type is physical. So this doesn't sexual is later, but physical meaning like this one I could really relate to. Did your parents force you to eat everything on your plate?
No,
Mm,
no,
okay.
I'm so glad because a lot of my uncles, aunts, great uncles, they did that to their children.
Yeah, and that is he talked about that how he talked about it in a couple ways. He said first thing he admitted he was a very picky eater, and when people try to push him to try new things, and he'll say no, thank you. Come on, just try it. Come on,
Okay, so
and
that's one of
yeah,
my pet peeves. I don't like picky eaters.
mm,
That's a
yeah.
boundary of mine.
I don't think. I'm a
Oh,
foodie, so I'm like, hell yeah, I'll try
yeah.
it.
I'll
So,
try anything 3 times in life. Oh,
yeah,
that's what I said.
exactly.
Give me 3 times. I'll
What's
either
the
learn
weird?
to love it.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten? I was in Romania and I ate sheep brain. That was
Ooh, I've
interesting. It
never
was
eaten
good.
that.
It was good. And then I think that was probably the weirdest thing. Yeah.
My dad just recently had an urchin, like a sea urchin that was still
Hmm.
alive.
Oh, is that why
Um,
his face swelled up?
no, not that dad, my poppy.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I'm trying to think of something that I wouldn't eat. I don't know. I've tried everything. Like I'll try anything and everything. I don't care.
Yeah. When I was little, it's strange because I was a super picky eater when I was little. So but my parents would force me to eat everything on my plate, and I would sit there and I would hold it. I was like they call me the little hamster because I would hold it here, and
Yeah.
then when they weren't looking, I would spit it out because I just couldn't do it. So you crossed a
I think
boundary,
that's
mom
the
and
worst thing.
dad.
You did her dirty. You did her dirty. I think that's one of the worst things you can do. I really
Yeah,
do because it's saying you have to do something you don't like. I think that's
yeah,
weird.
yeah.
My mom made us taste it every time she served it. So she had beets, like she had these beets, she loved them but nobody else did, but we all had to try them. And lo and behold, I love beets now.
Mm,
You
yeah,
know, but she was like, if I make them for you, all I want you to do is taste them because your taste buds will change over the course of your life.
yeah.
And that's all I expect of Scarlett is for her to just taste it once and move on. And we just like, I think it's just so weird to force your kid to eat a plate of food.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember, my parents grew up during,
Hmm.
it wasn't like the heyday of Polish times, so food was scarce.
Okay, I'm just wondering because I remember I don't know shit. Was there ever a heyday in Poland?
That will be for the afterbirth. We will talk about
Okay, I
Polish
want to
heyday.
talk.
There's
I
so
want
much in
to.
the afterbirth.
Oh, it's going to be good. I want to
Yeah,
know
it's going to be
about
good.
Polish heyday.
Okay, I will.
Okay.
We'll do that, and we'll cover
All
that in the
right.
afterbirth. But
Okay.
food was scarce, and that was it. And it's so funny because Maciek and I was born in abundant America. Maciek was born
Yes.
during communist times, where people would stand in line. They didn't know what was at the end of the line. They would just hope for something. Whatever
Oh
was there,
my
they would
God.
they would they would get it.
Yeah.
So, um, so yeah, it was tough. So he also is one of these. He will eat everything on his plate because he feels guilty
Yeah.
for
My
what he's done.
Gigi, she was born during the Depression and lived through it,
Mhm. Yeah.
and like her family was devastated by it, and she like, I mean, you could tell that there was a scarcity there and she had to
Mhm.
eat, like she would eat everything on her plate, and she would honestly like she turned it into a positive with us, like enjoying foods, but
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
I mean some of her sisters ended up they ended up pretty morbidly obese because of the, just eating and eating. I think that's what you can do to a child when
Yep.
you do create that kind of environment. Okay,
Yep.
let's go to the next one. We
So
just humped that to death,
yeah,
didn't we?
yeah. We dry humped and it's limping away. This boundary is slowly limping away. I just want to add one thing, and it's not about food. It's about also when I was in active alcoholism, I would force people to drink because I
Oh,
wanted people to be as drunk. So I'd be like, drink, take the shot. And I would like put it in their face and make them drink it. So I would also like to do a broad stroke apology to anyone out there that I would force you to drink. I'm sorry. And if you need
yeah.
help, call me.
Here to help once again is
All right. So the next one is emotional boundaries. So that is like name calling when people make fun of you.
This is like my entire family. We rip on each other constantly. And then somewhere in the last like 15 years, everyone's taken offense to everything.
Oh gosh, in your family?
Yeah.
When did you all become so sensitive?
I know. I think it's after my brother died. That was a pivotal place in our life.
He died and took the entire sense of humor of the family with him.
He really did. He really did. Yeah, because I think at that point, people were like, wait, we can get out of this. We don't have to deal with this, because my brother committed suicide. And it was like, so I think, yeah, it was weird. It was a pivotal change for like, we used to rip on each other so bad.
Do you think it was you stopped doing that, or people became because there was like a fear that would cross a line and somebody would feel the way he felt? Or
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. It's weird because there were like, I've tried to think about what happened, but the family quickly disassembled, and some stayed together here, some stayed together there, some stayed together here, but it was like, and a lot of it like had to do with my mom's wheels fell off after, because she was holding the family very closely together. And then obviously she lost her child. So she was just not able to do it anymore. So, yeah.
I couldn't get on board with a lot of this stuff because I think, I don't know, there was something in this chapter that annoyed me about people being oversensitive to words.
And the whole thing did. I'm like, if I rip on you, I love you.
Yeah. And he gave an example of there's this guy and he would show up to his family party and his uncle would be like, there he is, the player. And he was no longer a player. So
like, first of all, he was probably never a player.
Yeah, his uncle was like lying.
His uncle was trying to make him feel bad because he changed his diaper and he knows he has a small penis.
Yeah, he's trying to make him feel better. Like, come on, playa.
Hey, playa, hater. No, playa. Hey, playa. He's like, I know you could never get a girl. So like, and now he's all like weepy. Okay, you're called a player.
It's cool. Not like I think it's a compliment.
Hey, boil on the butt of humanity. I mean, like.
So anyway, this guy was like upset. It no longer was appropriate. So he like pulled his uncle aside and he said in a very calm manner, like, it bothers me when you call me a player. And then he's like, oh, and then it would just only take a look from me and my uncle would stop. And I'm like, that sounds like terrorism.
Number one, my uncle's drunk. So you don't want to have a heart to heart with my uncle. A. Two, if you like show weakness in my family like that, the whole family is going to be calling you playa for the rest of your life. And you're going to have a t-shirt made. Am I right?
And a new birth certificate with your name crossed out and player written on top.
My mom would legally change my name to Playa Ray. I mean,
Ah,
like, what
yeah.
a wuss.
Yeah, so this one I could not, but I'm sure people are very sensitive and they need to make these boundaries. I just couldn't get on. I
Grow
was
a
like,
pair.
I was like, there has to be something about I mean, he's like a resilience trainer, supposedly, Chase Hill. So what about being resilient? But the book's about boundaries, so I get it.
Okay.
Some people feel it more than others. I don't. So let's move on. The next key type of boundary is time. Girl, this is mine.
Mm.
This is where all of my shit goes downhill quick. This is where
Oh
I'm exhausted.
my God. First of all, what's okay? What is the worst thing about this for you? What's the hardest thing?
What I do, because I called even in recording you a message that it's all in this area, first of all. So I go above and beyond without being asked.
I'm so
So
guilty of that. I'm
people
so
will
guilty.
call me with something and I'm like, I will take care of it for you. And I will put in all this work to do something for them that they have not even asked me to do.
Yes. I do
So,
this so much. It's
me too.
so unfair. It's
Me
such
too.
bullshit. For everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't ask me to, and I will offer it up
Oh
without them
God.
even asking. So it is on me. It's not on them. But then I will have a resentment. I will like slowly,
Uh
oh,
well, you can't help but like I mean, if you do a bunch of things that nobody wants you to do,
yeah.
and you're so spread so thin,
Yeah.
and then somebody actually asks you to do something, and then you're like, I'm doing all this, and then you're
Yeah.
just like, I mean, it's
Yeah.
and then you lash out at them.
Yeah.
There
So
is
that's
something
my
there
big
though.
one. That's my big one. Doing an example. When was it? Yesterday. Somebody called me. They needed the script for a workshop that we were doing, and I didn't have it. The old me, thanks to this book. So Chase Hill, you did really help me. The old me would have looked everywhere for the script, called everyone I knew who could have had the script, gotten the script, made sure it was okay, got this girl's email, sent it to her. It would have taken hours. But the girl called me yesterday. She's like, "Do you have the script?" I just said, "No, I think Maria has it. So maybe get in touch with
What?
her." And I was like, that just saved me. That, 3-minute conversation just saved me an hour or two of work. So I was like, whew. And I honestly was super grateful for Chase Hill because it's like, I'm the reason for my exhaustion, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh, yes.
I'm the reason. It's not these people everyone asking me to do things. And then the second thing is I have a really hard time saying no.
Yeah, I did too.
So somebody asks me to do something and I say yes, and then I'm like, why did I say yes? So now I've also adopted something that he said is just to pause and say, can I get back to you?
Yes,
Which
that's
is like,
so good.
I'm taking that on. So
I am too. I am too, for sure. Thank you for that, Chase. We're
yeah.
we're there now in our relationship.
What about
Um,
you with time and,
well, first, I am a perfect storm. I have FOMO,
mm,
like big time. I have a fear of missing out on a level that is like because I love being a part of everybody's everything. I also like I because I'm an empath, like when somebody's having something great go on, if I am a part of that, then I feel as high as they do. Like I feel as excited as they do as I mean, if you won the lottery, it would be like me winning the lottery. It
yeah.
literally like there's no distinct like I've tried it. I've done like I've thought about like something great happening to my sister versus something great happening to me. And I feel as good if not better for something happening to her as something happened to me, which is really like because I am a true empath, which
Mm,
is, I literally feel exactly what you feel. And that's
Yes.
not like, so I have FOMO. I also have empathy on a level that, like, if you have a problem, I can't distinguish if it's your problem or my problem. So I
Hmm.
bleed so hard into somebody else's problems. And I want to do
Yeah.
anything and everything to help them. And I have a tendency, because I have a tendency to give too much of myself to the other people's problems. Like, I can't help myself because I want to help. It is literally from the clearest heart that I can possibly know. Like, I don't know how
Hmm.
else to do it. So there's
Yeah.
that.
But what
Um,
ends up happening, and I notice it with you and I notice it with me, is we end up exhausted.
I'm so tired, and I also am resentful because here's what will happen. I don't have a lot of people in my life like me.
Hmm.
And so when I am down, I need that kind of thing for me, and it's not there. So I would naturally go into my natural energy tanks, and I've drained them for everyone else.
Yeah, I think what a lot of this book is saying is it isn't selfish to take care of yourself first. It's
Right.
because then you'll have that energy to take care of the ones closest to you.
Absolutely.
So I think that's I really liked that part of it. I also liked, and this was sort of towards the end of the book, so I'm skipping around, but he had this using your time as currency. So how much time do you want to spend on the, kind of dividing it up, like how much currency you have left? And I
Yeah,
really
I
liked
think
that
he was
too. I
like,
was like,
you have 48 if you separate your into 30-minute slots. He says you have, okay, so you have
48
20,
slots
yeah, 48 slots.
because 24 hours, yeah, and it's 30-minute
Yeah.
slots. So you have
Yep, 48
48
slots.
slots.
And then 8 hours of sleep and 8 hours of work. So that's 36 slots are gone right off the bat.
That almost gave me a panic attack. Because 48 minus 36 is 22, right? Yeah. So it's like I
Well,
have 22 slots left. Oh my God. I'm
I
okay.
felt immediate scarcity, and I was not comfortable with the whole thing. I was like, okay, so like, am I going to give it like, first of all, I'm not comfortable with 8 hours going directly
Yeah.
to uh, work.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Oh my God. And I know we all work more than that, but it's like, oh, that's a lot.
And we're doing all the math wrong, by the way, right?
Okay, I hate math. Math is a
let's
boundary of mine.
let's let
It's a
let's start
hard
over.
boundary.
Okay, so let's start over. His whole thing. 30, if you divide your time into 30-minute slots and it's a 24 hours, so yeah, you have 48, right? 48
Okay, smarty
30-minute
pants.
slots minus 8 hours for sleep, so that's minus 16, minus another 16 for work, right? If assuming people work 8 hours. So that's you have 16 left then.
Okay, Goodwill
That's
Hunting. uh, Today we're doing the podcast with a beautiful mind.
but that put me into like 16. I'm like 16 slots. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so little.
Yeah, I
And then
didn't
think
feel
about
like
it,
I
like
needed more slots.
yeah, I was like, that's too little.
I
But
don't want more slots.
it did give me a good perspective. Like, what am I doing? Like, what am I willing to give a slot to? And what am I not willing to give a slot to? And yesterday I was not willing to give 2 slots out of the 16 I got left to this girl who needed the script. She can do it
Right.
herself.
I love
And
it.
yeah, and also, I mean, we're codependent, so we shouldn't be doing things for other people that they can do for themselves.
Oh my God. I need a t-shirt that says that, and possibly a freaking tattoo.
Like,
Yeah.
I am more than willing to help somebody who really needs help, but a girl who's looking for a script, she's not in dire straits, okay?
Yeah, exactly. She's not homeless on the
Yeah,
side of the road. That's, yeah.
so
So
that was
what's the
good.
next one? What's the next one? We know,
Sexual,
okay, so we know
sexual.
time
Yeah,
is our problem.
time is our problem. Sexual is the next one.
Well, and before we get to sexual, which you know I love, but like it is over, it's time is like to be out of time all the time is almost like people find that like being busy and be like that's being uh like to be out of time is almost like in style right now.
Mm,
And I think that we've kind of gotten into a little bit of that uh groove of being busy being attractive, and I don't think it is. I think people who can work smart versus people who can work hard uh are better at their jobs, don't you
yeah,
think?
yeah, yeah. If you're busy, you're essentially saying you're inefficient.
Yeah.
I don't want to be inefficient.
Or you can't prioritize, which is what we're basically
Yeah,
talking about.
no
We
longer
can't.
cool.
We
No longer
can't.
cool. So,
Okay,
hey,
so
before we get to
sexual.
sex,
Oh,
because it's a thing, should we do a Bantza break?
let's do a Bantza break.
A Bantza break. Who are our sponsors? We got the Stella box. Can you tell us about it?
The Stella box is an empowerment box that you send to your girlfriend when she's in a breakup. When you can't be there for her. It features a wine glass that says drink to forget, champagne gummies that say sweet freedom, a condom pack that says the only way to get over someone is to get under someone else, red hanky panky lace thong that says big girl panties on them, and of course, the famous Kiss This lipstick in the shade of hashtag hate sex. Order one today at thestellabox.com and shed a little light on your friend's darkness.
Yeah, I love that. That idea of the Stella box, especially like during all the COVID times, like you can't just fly over or like drive over or go over to your friend's house and give her a hug.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? So this is like a huge hug in a box. Plus it
It's a
makes you laugh.
yeah, it's a girlfriend in a box. It
Yeah.
really is. Like right on the top of the box when you open it, it says "fuck him," and
Yeah.
it just goes from there. It's awesome.
Yeah, I love
So,
that.
all right. Well, we'll be back. Welcome back, everybody. That's all I've got.
That was pathetic. Do it again.
Welcome back.
Better.
Thank you.
So, as we come back, I'd like to tell everyone about our Patreon account info. So, Patreon is a really cool site that supports artists like ourselves, and you can subscribe or just donate and support our podcast if you like it.
You can give like
And
$5 monthly, right?
yeah,
$5
it can be
monthly.
$5, it could be $500, it could be
$5
$1,
million.
it could be
$5 million
whatever.
a month. Could you give us
Yeah.
$5 million a month?
That would be super helpful. And then, so we hope to expand, we hope to grow, we hope to get exclusive content, but we do need your help for that.
But I mean, if
So
1,000 people gave $5 a month, we would be okay.
we would be rocking this podcast.
Let's
We
do
need to get
that.
an
Let's all
editor.
make that happen. If you guys don't do that, I'm going to delete you from Facebook.
No.
Just kidding. You should be so lucky.
So our Patreon account info is you log in at www.patreon, that's patreon.com/we need help podcast written together. And you can sign up to be a Patreon member and support us on there. So www.patreon.com/we need help podcast written together.
Mm-hmm. And if you do that, I will personally send a picture of my dad going down a water slide. It's the funniest thing you've ever seen.
Oh my God.
It is.
It is.
And you know what? That's
It
probably
really is.
going against his boundaries for me to send that out, but
Can you ask him or no? You're just going to send it?
Hey, no, I'm not going to ask him. He called me out for having no breasts when I was 13 in front of the whole family at Thanksgiving.
Payback's a bitch.
Payback's a motherfucker, Dad. I was
All right.
mortified.
I would be too.
Mortified. He said I have to eat more oyster dressing to get breasts.
Oyster dressing?
Yeah.
Like the Chinese stuff?
Like oyster dressing, like turkey dressing, like it has oysters in it.
Oh, okay.
It's actually pretty good now that I'm not 13 and breastless. Breastless in Seattle. I mean,
the story of Lizzie Anna.
yeah, it's not the charming tale with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. It's the mortifying tale of Lizzie Anna and her dad at the Thanksgiving table.
So I'm sorry. So that
She's
would be
stunned. She can't.
that would be him crossing an emotional boundary.
Mm. So that wasn't sexual. Good.
No. So before the break, we were talking about the 6 key types of boundaries that are listed in Chase Hill's wonderful book, Healthy Boundaries. Wonderful is a euphemism, but anyway, physical, emotional, time. We talked about those, and now we're getting into sexual boundaries.
Bow, chicka, bow, bow.
So, how are you doing in this department?
I'm like sexual boundaries. Like, first of all, I mean, I was thinking about it in the shower this morning. Got pretty hot. Just kidding. Like, I don't think I have a lot of sexual boundaries. What are sexual? Is that like anal?
I think most people.
I think if anal's a sexual boundary, I do have sexual boundaries.
I mean, I don't know if you could say it's for everybody, right? Like, I think everyone has their own individual
sexual boundary. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do
So
you keep that in your wallet?
It's just what you're comfortable with sexually.
Okay. Sexually.
Like prostitutes have a sexual boundary. They don't kiss, right? Like
Ooh,
that's
that's a sexual boundary.
Sexual boundary. Yeah.
When I was 16 and Pretty Woman came out, I couldn't wait to be a prostitute.
They don't kiss on the mouth. Can we, for the afterbirth, see if that's true?
What?
If they really don't kiss on the mouth?
No, I think it was just in Pretty Woman. I think some prostitutes will.
Okay.
Okay, so until we do the afterbirth, we will hire a prostitute and try to kiss her.
Okay.
Or is that like crossing your
Suddenly
boundary?
our listeners went from 5 to 15,000.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
I'm a sure thing, baby.
You don't even have to pay me.
Yeah. You want red, you want green, you want yellow. Okay, I don't know that. Rainbow.
So, yeah, I don't know. Is there anything more you want to say about this?
Okay, how are you in your sexual boundaries? Do you know exactly what you're comfortable with, exactly what you're not comfortable with? Or are you up for anything? You have no boundaries?
Pass.
You don't.
Pass.
This is a boundary she's not willing to talk about.
I'm not willing to talk about this, Lizzie. This makes me uncomfortable.
Okay, I'll talk about it for you. Izza likes no. Just kidding. You're welcome. Is that see? That's acknowledging that she has a boundary and letting her have that boundary.
There we go.
No, I think it is important to have sexual boundaries, and I honestly think that in a relationship, it's really, really important to say what they are, say what you want, and just like have it be out there.
Yeah.
You know, it's like what you're comfortable with. That way the cards are on the table.
Yeah. So I had an ex who wanted to make a contract about how often we did the deed. Like he wanted to put it in writing. I was like,
is this
but I've heard
Christian
people do
Grey?
that.
Did you date Christian Grey?
I did not. His name was Christian Greysky.
It was not quite 50 Shades of Grey.
50 Shade of Eastern Bloc. So, yeah.
It was like, you had 50
That was
Shades of
weird.
Brown.
Ew.
Ew. Okay. So sexual
All right.
boundaries are important.
Yeah. 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 Communicate. I think that's a hard one. I think it's hard for people to, because it's not, sometimes for us it's comfortable, but I think for some people it's not a comfortable topic to discuss.
I think, yeah.
So,
And I think in some people's households, like sex is just fucking forbidden.
did you guys talk about sex in the house?
Yeah. My
'Cause you
mom was
guys
very
did.
progressive. She talked
Your
about
mom,
your
yeah.
body being for your pleasure. You
Mhm.
know, she worked for Planned Parenthood for a while and she would bring home like videos
Mm.
of like, different, even sexual transmitted diseases. Like we knew about that before like anybody else. Like
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, oh, here comes Mr. Chlamydia. And people would be like, what does that mean? Like, what? You don't know what chlamydia is?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think my mom was very progressive. Did you talk about it?
No.
No.
Mm-mm. We didn't talk about it in the house. My grandmother talked about it. She was cool. She was like, don't have it too young and too often because it's going to get boring. She was just like straight up talking about it. So I thought that was cool. But we just never had, like, my parents never had the talk with me. Like, oh, we need to have the talk. Never had that. We didn't even talk about periods. Like, I got my period and I
You were
knew what was
like,
going on because of the girls in my school, but it just wasn't discussed. It
okay,
probably wasn't discussed in my parents' house. It was just old world mentality, so we just don't talk about certain things.
first of all, my great grandmother, Anna Olivia, she told me the best birth control is an aspirin between your knees.
That is funny.
Yeah. So she'd say, you know what the best birth control is, Elizabeth? An aspirin. And I was like, okay, even I'm at the ripe young age of 15. I'm like, an aspirin? She's like, yeah, you just hold it between your knees. Like,
That is hilarious.
it was mortifying at the time, but like, I guess she had never heard of doggy style. I hadn't either. Don't feel bad, great grandma.
Or froggy style.
Froggy style. Or loggy style. Loggy.
Let's for the afterbirth, we have to see if there's a loggy style.
Or a cloggy style.
Oh my God, is that like from Holland?
Yes.
You want the clogs and the cheese.
Okay, well, if I had $1 for every time I've done that. Oh my God.
All right. Moving on to the intellectual boundaries.
This is where people make you feel stupid and correct you all the time, like your
Yeah.
ex's mom.
Yeah. For my Polish
Helga.
grammar.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
dad, I hate to like, I gotta say, like, I rip on my dad a lot. He was trying his best, man, but he really did do this a lot.
Rip on for your intellectual. Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of, and he like, he didn't mean to because he was raised by my aunt Dorothy, who was a teacher, and she was
Mm.
quite hard on him. He was extremely intelligent, did really well in school, and she was pretty tough on him. And
Mhm.
I think that kind of flowed through to us.
Yeah. This I couldn't really, I'm super smart, so I can outsmart anybody with
Obviously,
obviously. No, but what advice did he give? He just said, "I appreciate your point of view, but," or something like that. Or what I hate is when people patronize me,
I get that a lot.
And
Yeah.
I really love saying, "Don't patronize me. Don't patronize me." I love saying
You
that.
can patreon.com me, but you can't. Uh,
backslash we need help podcast or just slash. Sorry. I keep, it
she's
seems
back.
like it's
Well, it's
just
backdraft.
it's backslash draft. I am smart, I swear.
No, you're damn it. And people
Anything else?
love me.
Did he say anything else about the intellectual
He may have, but I'm too stupid to have absorbed it.
remember?
So,
So let's move on to the material, which is that's another kind of boundary. So this is where I think we have issues too. Around for everybody,
oh
I'll
God,
buy you a
yeah,
pony.
let me. I know. But like my very good friend, very very good friend. We were having a discussion because I am a very giving person to the point where I don't want any of the little kids to feel left out. So if I buy Scarlett something, I usually buy the entire barn kids the same
Yeah.
thing.
You have no
So
boundaries when it comes to money. I mean, you
no,
do, but
not enough. It like
yeah.
I'm working very hard on it. And she said to me, Lizzie, you need to quit buying rich kids stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit. Like I didn't even ever think of it like that. Because if you see a kid riding a horse, their parents are doing all right. They may not be
Yeah.
rich, but they are doing okay because it's an expensive
Hobby.
hobby. Yeah,
Yep.
sport, whatever you want to call it. So it's like, I have a really hard time with people feeling left out. I have a hard time. I want more people there. I don't want anyone to miss out because they can't afford it because I know what that
Mhm.
feels like. And I just entirely I I pay for too many things for too many people all the
Mhm.
time.
Yeah.
And it really is terrible. And I
Yeah.
wish I wouldn't do it.
Well, I think awareness is the first step. So I think this book definitely helped with that, right?
Well, I knew it was a problem.
Yeah.
It has I mean, sometimes just hearing that other people have the problem make you feel better
Yeah.
because you don't hear of like at least here in Naples, you don't really hear of a lot of people paying for a lot. There's only one other family that I really know that are like us.
Mhm.
Um our best friends. They pay for everything for everybody. And it's like, it's insane to be around them because they pay for as much as we do. Like, it's like, so I'm trying to be better.
Yeah. I think I have a hard time like I pay for people. And again, it's that codependent don't do things for others that they should be doing for themselves or they could be doing for themselves. And it's nice once in a while, but oh, I got this. When I'm at lunch with
It
friends and
all ends
then
up even. Well, guess what? It doesn't always
it
end up
doesn't
even.
always. And I think the issue is then you create situations where people take advantage, like you said, or they,
Or
never
even
pay because
worse,
they just expect you to pay.
or
Yeah.
even worse, they're actually resentful because they feel like they owe you and they can't pay you
Yeah.
back. And
Yeah.
then they like push away from you. And legit, this happened to me. Like, this legit happened to me. Like, I gave thousands of dollars of a birthday present to a friend. The big joke, I leased her kid a pony. We took her on a great vacation, paid for everything. And legit, like, I think she just didn't, she ended up in her mind, like, trying to justify her part of the friendship. And like, it just made her feel bad. That's all I can, I don't know that to be true, but like, that's all I can think of because we're not friends anymore.
Hmm. Yeah, money is tricky. It really influences relationships. Like I remember when I first got sober, I was in a mountain of debt. And I it was awful because I had to like live off of people.
Yeah.
And it what it did was it made the relationship for me unnatural because I felt like I couldn't get in a fight with them because they would
Yeah.
cut me off. So it was just like It was just awful. Like
Horrible. Well, and
it was horrible.
I must say, like, I do have some friendships that, like, maybe they don't pay as much financially, but they give their time or
Yeah.
their, eh, they show up. They
Yeah.
are like, that feels even to me. But like, they're like this particular friendship that I'm thinking that I literally paid out so much money. It was so uneven. Like, all the food, all the parties, made constantly concessions for she and her family. And it was so uneven. I think that, like, looking back, I think that, like, it made her resentful of me. And it was my fault because she didn't ask for any of it.
Yeah.
Not one thing.
Yeah. And I think that's where I think time and money, this is where these are our two sort of hot spots, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really bad. And I think because my mom said to me the other day, she goes, you know, the way that you're behaving, because it doesn't make sense, that means that there's major trauma there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, huh. And I remember, like, as a child not having the money for things, and my Aunt Pam would pay for me, or people would help, like, provide for me or get me something special, or just not leave me out was a huge deal. And I remember how good that made me feel. So I think that I instinctively do that, even though, like, people aren't going to feel left out. Maybe they'll step up. Like, this particular girl that I'm referring to with this friendship that was so dysfunctionally uneven, she had plenty of money.
Mm. Yeah.
She just was choosing not to spend it on those particular items. You know, you see
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, she wasn't by any means poor,
Yeah.
but I didn't want her to be left out. Wanted her to feel special. She was not like, I I I felt terrible for her because she was an uneasy human.
Mm.
And I was trying to help her be
So you would feel
empowered.
more at ease yourself because you absorbed that and then yeah.
It's my pain. If you're an empathy, or if you have empathy and you are, you know, that type of person, you have to ease the pain. And the only way to ease the pain is to separate yourself from the person in pain or fix their problem.
Yeah. And fixing their problem, I don't think really fixes it.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
what soon became clear in this particular thing is there was no bottom.
Yeah.
It was a never ending blackness to the negativity.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, you know, it didn't work, which also made me feel terrible.
Yeah. Boundaries. There's
Boundaries.
boundaries. There's something in it. And I think we're probably at some point going to have to do a book about money
Yeah.
and some of the ideas that we carry.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. That would be an amazing one. Uh,
Okay. So those were the six sort of key types: the physical, emotional, time, sexual, intellectual, material. And then he went on, there was some activities that you can establish your own boundaries where you struggle. There was like 7 questions that you have to answer. We're not going to go through those. But there was also, he did it in sections like family, relationships, friends.
right.
You had a couple funny stories that related to boundaries in your family. So
Well, I have, like, I really do. I have a couple of theories on boundaries. First of all, I'm bored by boundaries. Like I said, I wasn't raised in boundaries for survival reasons. But one of my favorite examples of how I do not have boundaries is the time that I thought my dad needed a partner, like a girlfriend. So I went ahead and signed him up for Match.com.
wait, without his knowledge or with his knowledge?
I can't remember. And that tells me probably he didn't know.
And Match.com, to our listeners who maybe don't know, I don't know, if we have international, it's like a internet
Yeah,
dating
it's
site.
an internet dating site. It's pretty thorough. You have to put in all his information, this, that, and the other thing. And then that's not the worst of it. You think I just stopped there? No, 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 no. Every morning, I would get up and wink at different women that I thought he might like and that might like him.
You were like catfishing these women, or wait,
No,
no, catfishing, or
no,
is that what it's
catfishing
called?
is when you don't, when you're like, you're not putting like forth who you are. No, I put
Yeah,
all of his information.
I know you did, but you were winking as him, but it wasn't him. I wonder if there's a word for that.
Impersonating my father on Match.com. Yeah, if that's what if you have to label it, okay.
Oh. And so was
He went on a couple of
and
dates, but I always tease him. I'm like, Dad, like if it weren't for your personality, it would work. He's set in his ways. He's so set in his ways.
yeah, that is funny. And he
Mhm.
was open to going on these dates.
Yeah. I mean, I could sit here and do a 24-hour podcast of all the things I've broken boundaries with all my sisters, I mean, moving to the Virgin Islands was the best thing we could have done because I legit could not fix my sister's problems anymore.
Yeah,
And
I
it
think
was
that's
like,
the thing.
woo.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you need to create a physical boundary because of ourselves trying to cross boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
So I
was
think
so
family
good.
is a really tough one. That is a really tough one because I think this with strangers, boundaries, they're more, once you set them. But with family, here's in this book, like some of the verbiage that he was using, some of the words that he was using. I'm like, I can't imagine saying that to my brother. My brother, if I was like,
Okay.
Wojtek, I would appreciate it if you didn't, blah, blah, blah. And he'd be like, get the fuck out of here.
First of
Like,
all, if you
shut
Izza's brother is one of the most hilarious, intelligent human beings I've ever talked to. And I mean, when I say he's funny, he would fucking rip you apart. If you
he
said,
would.
"Oh, Wojtek, I am setting some boundaries in my life. And what would be acceptable to me," he'd be like,
Yeah.
wouldn't he?
Exactly. And I think that's if I had any criticisms of this book, it would be sometimes he focused too much on the words to use and less on the inner work that needs to happen for you to set that boundary. Because I think sometimes boundaries just need to be set in your heart, in yourself. That
Yeah.
word no, like I will no longer participate in this, rather than the words. The words I think can come, you can make up the words, but I think some of the times he focused too much on exactly what to say rather than you being okay with yourself and your boundary. And I know he mentioned it a couple times, but I think a lot of work has to go in, a lot of pain in order for you to start being okay with having that boundary.
Yeah. The role playing and the way, like, especially if you choose to do this on Audible, which I think everyone should, his voice is not annoying. Uh,
It's not his voice, it's
yeah, it's
actually
not
somebody
his
else's.
voice.
Well, whoever's reading it.
Yeah, the voice is not annoying. But you know, when he was role playing, it made me physically uncomfortable because I would never say that. I think that there needs to be like, thinking about body language, like, or just not taking part in something or being
Yeah.
quiet. I think the being quiet was a huge one because I like to if I can't do something, I give like 70,000 excuses and explanations. Like, I need to not do that.
Yes. Yeah, that was a big one for me, just to say no.
Yeah.
And I started using that with certain people in my family. I don't want to call anyone out, but because I used to just make up excuses like I can't lend you money because, and then I would, because we're building a house, because we're doing this, we're going to do this, and I just say I'm sorry, I can't. It feels so much better. It
Yeah.
feels so much better. And he did
Yep.
say that you would get like kind of a powerful feeling, and it's like,
Well,
because
and
why do we explain ourselves? We have a fear of what this other person will think of us, that they'll think badly of us. So if we lighten the blow by giving a really good excuse, then they can't get mad at us,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I do a lot of times with Scarlett, and I think that boundaries are huge with children. She'll say, "Mom, do you want to blah blah blah?" And I'll say no, and she'll say, "Why?" And I'll say, "Because I don't want to. I don't
Yeah.
want. I like,
I've heard you say that when
yeah,
we were hanging out. I've heard
yeah,
you say that.
yeah. I don't want to do that. Like, I want her to be able to say when she's out and everybody busts out the Mad Dog 2020. I want her to say, and when they say, "Do you want a shot or whatever, a drink?" And she'll say, "No, I don't want to." And I want that to
Right.
be like flowy out of
Mhm.
her.
Because if you give excuses, people can challenge those
They can
excuses.
handle objections, which
They
people
can
are
handle
naturally,
objections.
yeah. If
Yeah.
you object, then they can handle that. But if you just say, "No, I don't want to," it's not that I can't, or I like, that's a huge deal. I think that that's one of the best things we can take is I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Like, and nobody
I'm
can handle that. Nobody can handle that objection. They're like,
Because what can they say? Yeah, you do. They can't say that. That's
yeah,
an objection that they can't handle.
exactly.
Yeah.
No, Chet, I don't want to do it.
That's it. I love that. So I'm definitely
Yeah.
taking that from this
Yep.
book.
Absolutely.
One other thing that I'm just gonna nitpick is he had a lot of the when he was talking about setting a boundary that you need to do that. Like if I'm setting a boundary with a family member, you need to stop or you need to do this.
Yeah.
And I couldn't agree with that because I'm like, that's saying you need to change in order for me to be okay. And
Yeah.
I kind of would rather stick to my side of the street. It bothers me when you or whatever, but not you need to change.
I
Like that's
thought,
who am I to tell anyone that they fucking need they don't need to do anything.
I thought a lot of how he handled, especially in the relationship part, how he handled that was to manipulate their behavior. And
Yeah.
like he had there at one point there was something he was trying to if you're with someone who's a narcissist and they ask something of you and then they give you the cold shoulder, you're to go out. You're not to say that what they're doing is bothering you. And you're to go out and have dinner by yourself and enjoy your something, and for them to think this. And I was just like, well, actually, you should go
Yeah.
do whatever the hell you want. And
Yeah.
you should, if your feelings are hurt, you should say your feelings are hurt. You
Yeah.
shouldn't, like, don't, when somebody crosses a boundary of yours and you choose to passively aggressively ignore them,
Show them.
yeah, like, no, that is
Yeah.
manipulation. Like,
Yeah.
that's not healthy to me.
Yeah. 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 There was some of those things in there. So yeah, family, relationships, friendship he talked about too. Are there boundaries that you need to set with friends?
I mean, I obviously I talk about, I do have boundary issues with friends.
Mhm.
The best friends that I have are like low on boundaries, I must say,
Yeah.
because like how we were, most of the people I love have either been through trauma, and trauma kind of breaks down boundaries a little bit because
Mhm.
you're able to connect with pain instead of like the weather. But like uh my friendships, I've especially in the last couple of years, have to be very careful who I let in. Number one, they either have to be as giving as I am or they drain me. And two, I have noticed that I've become a lot more discerning with people because of
Mhm.
Scarlett.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only way I've been able to have actual boundaries is through her.
Hmm.
Cause I'm
Interesting. Well,
like,
yeah, because you have to sort of protect your child and show her certain things, how to be respected, how to choose your friends,
yes,
and things like this.
how
That's
people
the
treat
one thing.
me is really
The one,
important.
yeah. The one thing that I didn't agree with here when he was talking about these friendships is how to deal with friends that are disrespecting. And I'm like, for me, I wouldn't be friends with these people, you know? So my question kept coming up, why are these people still friends with these people? But I guess I'm
You're like,
assuming these,
it is
yeah,
optional, right?
yeah, like you don't, you know, but I guess he's talking to those people who,
I mean,
you know,
I've got lifelong friends that
mhm,
have, I mean, first of all, I don't have a lot of boundaries. That's obviously why we're doing this book. I need more boundaries. But a lot of my friends have been friends for 1,000 years. And if they know by my reaction, they know me as well as I know them, and they'll know if they've gone too far.
yeah,
I mean, like a lot of times, like I've had to tell my friends no about like large amounts of money being loaned to them. It's just not like, if it were all my money, yes, but Jason won't do it. Thank God
I
for
think
Jason,
I
you
know.
know? But like,
All right.
I'm not allowed to have Venmo. You know that, right? In our marriage.
What's Venmo? Sorry.
You don't
I'm
know
in
what
Poland.
Venmo is? Okay,
I'm in Poland. I don't know what Venmo is.
it's a way to
I'm sure
send
they even.
money.
Oh, it's like PayPal?
Yeah, it's like a better
Okay.
PayPal. But
Okay.
I'm like, okay, I feel so sorry for Poland right now. Like it's
I think Poland has Venmo, but
okay, you just don't have
I
it.
just use PayPal, so it's just whatever's
Okay,
popular
so
here.
it you don't get charged or anything on
Ah,
it, so
okay.
it's nice.
Yeah.
But I'm not allowed to have it because Jason's afraid I'll give all our money away,
Because
and
you
I
would.
and I think I actually made up that rule to begin with because I'm
Hmm.
fearful of what I would do.
You put the boundary on yourself.
I think I made that up and just told that story so many times that like so I wouldn't give away all of our money
Yeah.
because it's just if you have a need, I'm going to it's so natural for me to be like, no, I got it. I got it. I got it. No, it's fine.
Yeah. 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 All right. Anything else we want to add from this book?
You know what? I have to say, like, there's a part in it where you're supposed to emotionally detox, release the toxic people, and collect your, like, get to a balance in your life. And I do think that that's important. Like, I think that's something to work towards and something I'm taking away from it is like, okay, if it doesn't feel good, he said something about a compass. Like if you visualize a compass and somebody asks you for something and you look at this compass and it's either yes, you want to do it or no, you don't want to do it. Yes, it goes along with what you want or no, it doesn't. And all emotions are out.
Yeah, because a compass is just a compass, right?
It
It
points
just
two
shows the
ways.
direction. So, and he
Yeah.
said even visualize it in your hand if somebody asks you and just see where your compass is at. I
Yeah.
loved that.
I'm actually going to use that because it's like, okay, so many times I do something to help somebody, but it is absolutely not in my best interest at all.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Good.
So yeah,
Good. So that's what you're taking away. The compass.
that's
Anything else that you're taking away from this?
mm, no. No, I mean,
Okay.
I just no. I'm going to say no a lot more. What about you?
Yeah. Several things. So I think I'm going to delegate more and I'm going to stop from time to time. I can go above and beyond, but I'm going to stop doing it automatically, you know, because I do it automatically. I
So
do
do
things
I.
for people that they can do for themselves.
That they want
So
to
I'm going
do
to,
for themselves. Like you don't even give them the option, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what
So
I do.
I'm not going to help when they're not asking for it because
Beautiful.
that's what I tend to do. So that's one thing. And I like the compass too, because I'm going to put my heart into the compass as well and just see where it turns.
Hmm.
I like that idea. Like, do I really want to do this? Because I
Yeah.
sometimes agree to things I don't want to do,
Yeah, I do a lot.
and to really, and it's dishonest, you know.
I know.
And I'll give you this final example, and then I'll shut up. When we moved to Poland with Maciek, I volunteered to take care of both his elderly parents. while he was working, and I was doing a lot for them, and I was exhausted. I
Of
was
course you
exhausted.
were.
He didn't ask, they didn't ask. They were, of course, everybody was appreciative.
Yeah,
But it
I
was
mean, you're
dishonest
amazing.
because I'm like, I'm fine with doing that. But it was dishonest because I wasn't fine with doing it. But I did it because I wanted to be the super wife. I
Yeah.
wanted to be the super
Yep.
girlfriend who takes care of everything. And it was dishonest.
Did you know
And
up
so,
front that it was dishonest? I wouldn't
no,
have. I wouldn't have. I would have
not
done it with a
until,
clear heart.
yeah, not until I was so exhausted.
Mhm.
And that's my problem. I'm going to use this compass because I'm going to put my heart in it, and I'm going to, before I say yes right away, I'm going to really connect, and I'm going to think the thing through. Think of what the consequences are going to be. I'm going to think about it rather just say yes automatically or offer something up,
Right.
because I'm a bit burned out
Yeah.
with all the doing. So
Yeah.
I need to fill up the well. So that's what I'm going to
And
take away from this.
I
So
love the pause. Like
yeah.
that, I think I'm going to accept that as part of my life too. The pause, like, hey, let me get back to you on that one, and just really think if I want to put it in my compass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, love you
awesome.
so much.
I love you so
Should
much.
should we do a money book for next week?
Big Money Energy by Ryan Serhant. Maybe that's one I have
We
right
could
in
do
front of
that.
my face.
Or I have Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. That
Oh.
talks about all the childhood sort of. Did your computer just fall?
Uh,
Lizzie's computer just fell.
okay, we're
We're
back
back.
after the
Earthquake.
earthquake. Jesus.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Yes.
So we decided during the earthquake that we're going to do Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Rich
So
dad.
yeah, we got to delve into it. It advocates the importance of financial literacy and learning about that, financial independence, building wealth.
Oh, so
But it
good.
also talks about, yeah, it talks about the ideas that you take out from your
Well,
childhood,
and
which
Scarlett
is
is we're learning she's getting an E-Trade account this week. So this is perfect.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
excited.
I'm excited too.
Yay!
Yay!
Okay, so we'll see ya
See you
next
next Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Love you.
Love
Doosh,
you.
doosh, doosh. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. Rate and follow us if you like us. If you don't, please don't.
And come visit us at www.theweneedhelppodcast.com. There you can find show notes, links for books. You can join Audible, which is, how we actually read our books. We listen to them. And we have special exclusive content just for you. Also, feel free to subscribe to our Patreon account. That's where you can support us financially because we need it. And it can be anywhere from $1 to $100 billion a month, whatever you can afford. And the link to our Patreon account is www.patreon, and that's spelled patreon.com/We Need Help Podcast. And you can support us on there. We would really appreciate it because we do need help.
Awesome. And we will see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday. Thanks, loves.
Bye.
Bye.